Hello, welcome to CWI Part B Practical Book of Specification Lecture 14. Today we're gonna start Chapter 5, and Chapter 5 is here. Title of Chapter 5 is Procedure Qualification Requirements, which means WPS and PQR qualification requirements. So I'm gonna read out this specification and give you an explanation. 5.1 Wording Procedure Specification Data, WPS data. So WPS stands for Wording Procedure Specification, and the data means the data in the WPS listed in the WPS. Table 6 indicates the wording data to be included in a WPS for each wording process. The WPS may be presented in any format, written or tabular, provided the data required in Table 6 are included. So any format, the WPS can be made in any format, but Table 6, the data in Table 6 should be included. The suggested WPS format appears in Annex 7. The WPS may list the variables recorded and the PQR within the full range permitted for qualification variables and for practical limits determined by the wording organization for other wording data. So I'm going to show you Table 7. This is Table 7. Annex 7. Annex 7, Wording Procedure Specification Format. This is a tabular format. You have here WPS number, date, revision, and supporting PQR number. ID is the number, supporting PQR number, and scope wording process, which is like SMAW, GTAW, GMAW, FCAW, blah blah. And joint design, you can see the joint configuration, something like this: group weld or fillet weld. Joint design, root spacing, backing material, treat of backside, gouging, maximum mismatch, typical jointed details. So details, the joint configuration, group weld, fillet weld. And base matter, M number, group number, thickness range qualified, diameter, and filometer, process, SMW, GTAW, and AWS specification number, something like SFA 5.1, 5.9, AWS number, F number, filometer number, and word meter analysis A number, blah blah blah. Position, preheat, interpass temperature, heat treatment, and shielding gas, electrical variables. This is WPS format, and Annex 8 is procedure qualification record for PQR. So wording process type, base matter, filometer, position. They look like WPS format. The data are similar, actually the same, because the PQR is the base for the WPS. It's the sequence of making this kind of documents. You make PQR first, and then based on PQR you can create WPS. So just one PQR, with just one PQR you can create 100 WPS or 1000 WPS. The number doesn't matter for the WPS. So you must have this PQR in order to have the WPS. And in PQR you have a section like here, test section, visual examination, tensile test, guided bend test, and if required, impact test, and some other tests included. So actual test variable values, and based on the PQR, you can create WPS. Okay, table 6 is WPS data matrix, and for each process you have joint design, base matter, and filler matter, which should be listed in the WPS. So joint type and dimension is applicable for FCAW, GMAW, GTAW, SMAW. This X means applicable data. Filler position. I'm gonna go fast for this table 6 because this table 6 is not on the actual CWI Part B exam, but in real life and real industry practice, this WPS matrix is kind of important, but not on the exam. Table 6, WPS data matrix continued. Preheat, interpass, heat treatment, shielding gas, electrical, variable, and end of this table 6. And 5.2, procedure qualification variables. The change in the WPS beyond that allowed in this clause shall require requalification of the procedure and preparation of new or revised WPS. So in this 5.2 or 5.2.1, 5.2.1.1, in this 5.2, under this 5.2, if things are changed, the requalification of the procedure is required, or revising the WPS. Procedure here means PQR, procedure qualification record. So it takes time and it takes cost. Changes not addressed in this clause shall not require requalification, provided such changes are documented in a new or revised WPS. 5.2.1 Test wordments. The wording organization should prepare a sufficient number of qualification test wordments to cover the anticipated processes, materials, thicknesses, etc. as described herein. Each group test wordment should be large enough to provide the necessary test specimen required in 5.3. 5.2.1.1. For the wording of base matters with different M numbers, a procedure qualification test should be made for each combination of M numbers to be joined. However, a procedure qualification test with one M number shall also qualify for that matter awarded to itself and to each of lower M number matters for base matter M1, M3, and M4 and M5A, and wording process SMAW, GTAW, GMAW, FHAW. So these are the choices of the M number. Actually, the M number are more than these numbers. So there are M numbers of M5B, 5C, M9A, 9B, M number 10, 10H, M number 15E, blah blah blah, and 40, 30, and there are many numbers of M numbers, but this BOS is here in 5.2.1.1 addressing just M number 1, 3, 4, 5. An example here, M number 5A to 5A would qualify for M5A to 5A, as well as M5A to M4, M5A to M3, and 5A to M1. So if you have the WPS, actually PQR, and PQR is made in 5A, 5A, and here it says base matter M number to M number, and here is 5A, and here again 5A. Then in WPS, the qualification can be like this. Here, joint design base matter, here this section, M number can be, according to PQR, M number is 5A to 5A. The M number in WPS can be 5A to 5A. This is possible, choice number 1, and it can be 5A to 4, choice number 2, and it can be 5A to 3, choice number 3, and 5A to 1, choice number 4. So if you have a higher M number than of the PQR in the PQR, then your WPS is qualified for lower M numbers, something like this. And these M numbers are listed in Annex 3A and 3B. Let's go to Annex 3A and 3B. This is Annex 3A, ASTM A36, M number 1, group number 1, UNS number, product form. This is Annex 3A, and 3B is here. M number listing of base metal ferrous alloys, and here Annex 3B, and here same as ASTM 836, UNS number, thickness limitation, and minimum tensile yield strength in MPa. 400 is minimum tensile strength, and 250 is yield strength. And here nominal composition, chemical composition is carbon, manganese, and silicon. (5.2.1.2). If fracture toughness testing is required, then the procedural qualification shall be made for each combination M number and group number to be joined. A procedural qualification shall be made for M number and group number combination of base metal, even though procedural qualification tests have been made for each of 2 base metals welded to itself. Parenthesis number 1. If the welding procedure specification, WPS for welding, the combination of base metals specifies the same qualification variables, including electrode or filler metal, as both WPSs for welding each base metal to itself, such as that the base metal is only to change, then WPS for welding combination of base metal is also qualified. Parenthesis number 2. When base metals of 2 different M numbers and group numbers are qualified using a single test wordment, then the test wordment qualifies the wording those 2 M numbers and group numbers to themselves as well as to each other using variables qualified. 5.2.1.2 is not on the exam. This actually CWI Part B exam, but here 5.2.1.1, this example 5.5a to 5a, this one is in the actual CWI Part B exam. The sample question is like the PQR is qualified for 5a to 5a. Then which of the following M number is not qualified for production welding? And the answer choices is 5a, 4, 1, and 10. Then the wrong answer is 10, because 10 is higher M number, but you are qualified for 5A, which is a lower M number in the PQR. So in the production welding, you're not able to weld this 10 M number base metal, but 5A for 1 is possible, are possible. 5.2.2 Qualification Thickness Limitation. 5.2.2.1 Limitations on thickness ranges qualified by procedure qualification test are given in Table 7. Table 7 is in the next page. On the next page, Table 7 is here. Thickness limitation of plate and pipe for groove weld. Groove weld for procedure qualification. So, I'm gonna explain how to read this Table 7 and 5.2.2.2. The limitations in Table 7 are based upon the base metal and weld metal thickness of groove welds. 5.2.2.3 Complete penetration groove welds shall also qualify partial penetration groove welds, fillet welds, and weld buildups within the qualification limit given in Table 7. So if you are qualified for complete joint penetration, you are qualified for partial joint penetration and complete joint penetration and fillet weld as well. 5.2.2.4 In addition to welding data required to be included in WPS by 5.1, when multiple process or multiple filometer classifications are used in a single test weldment, the thickness range permitted for use in the WPS should apply separately to each welding process and filometer classification. The welding deposit thickness for each welding process and each filometer classification used in qualification test should be recorded on the PQR. 5.2.2.5 In addition to the procedure qualification variables required to be recorded on the PQR by 5.2.3, the welded deposit thickness for each welding process and each filometer classification used in the qualification test shall be recorded on PQR for all applications. Okay, this is 5.2.2.5. I'm gonna show you the pictures of the weldment and show you more, give you more explanation. Okay, hold on a second, please. Okay, this 5.2.2.4, 5.2.2.5, that says separately. Multiple process or multiple filometer classification used in a single test wordment. Thickness range permitted for use in the WPS shall apply separately. And the word deposit thickness for each wording process and each filometer classification used in qualification test shall be recorded in the PQR for all application. So I'm going to show you the PQR. Here it says procedure qualification record, which is PQR, and you have joint design here. You have a single wordment, V group single wordment. You have a single wordment here, and up to this 3.5 millimeter, the wording process is GTAW. And after 3.5 millimeter, another 5.2 millimeter is worded by SMAW. Then in the PQR, this kind of separation, GTAW and SMAW and thickness limitation shall be recorded in the PQR joint design. And qualification of each thickness limitation shall be applied separately. So this thickness here is 5.2 plus 3.5, which is 8.7 millimeter. Then you go to table 7. Table 7. Here, this column, the very left column, test wordment thickness, capital T. And if you see, note here, capital T, the thickness of the test wordment base matter. And lowercase t is thickness of the word deposit excluding reinforcement. So the capital T means thickness of this base matter for the PQR qualification, the test wordment base matter. So this is capital T. And the lowercase t is thickness of word deposit. So word deposit is here, from here to top of the wordment. So this is lowercase t, but excluding this reinforcement and internal reinforcement and external reinforcement, excluding. So this distance is lowercase t. And since this thickness of the base matter is 8.7 millimeter, in table 7, I said this is PQR base matter thickness. So 8.7 is base matter thickness. So you find the range of the base matter thickness in this, on these lines, and 8.7 is the second line. It's belonging to second line, since 8.7 is 2 to 10. Then the base matter thickness qualified. This means WPS. And deposit word matter thickness qualified, lower t, the lowercase t, this is also WPS. The 8.7 here it says minimum millimeter, minimum base metal thickness qualified, and maximum base metal thickness qualified is, so you have base metal thickness. If you have PQR 8.7 millimeter, if you did the qualification test with 8.7 millimeter thickness of the base metal, then in WPS and actual production welding, the base metal qualification is minimum 2 millimeter to maximum is 2T. This T means 8.7. So 8.7 times 2 is 17.4 millimeter. So maximum is 17.4 and minimum is 2 millimeter for the base metal thickness qualification. And here deposit weld metal thickness qualified T is this weldment thickness is T, excluding this reinforcement, only just weldment between external reinforcement and internal reinforcement. So this T is 3.5 and 5.2. So 5.2 plus 7.5 is 8.7 millimeter, which is same as the base metal thickness. Then this T is also 8.7 millimeter. So you go here. Deposit weld metal thickness qualified T is 2 lowercase t. Lowercase t means is 8.7 millimeter. So maximum deposit weld metal thickness is also 17.4. That's T, and this is T, capital T, lowercase t. I'm gonna move this erase this one. I'm gonna give you another example. Let's say forget about this thickness here, and thickness of space meter is 25 millimeter for the base meter, and T is 25, and small t is 20. Assuming this capital T is 25 and lowercase t is 20. Then go to table 7. Same thing applies here. Capital T is 25 millimeter and lowercase t is 20 millimeter. Then capital T is 25 millimeter, which is here, so it is belonging to here, line number 4, 19 to 38. Then thickness in the production welding base metal thickness qualification is 5 to 2T. So this is 5 millimeter to 2T, which is 25 times 2 is 50. And this small t, lowercase t, deposit weld metal thickness qualified is, so when t is smaller than 19 millimeter, that's 2 small t. Small t is 20. So in this case, case number 1 is 2 small t is 40 millimeter maximum. But when this t, small t, is bigger than or equal to 19 millimeter, then 2 capital T, which is 25 times 2. Then here, maximum deposit weld metal thickness is 50. 50. So the weld deposit thickness qualification is various depending on the small t thickness. This is table 7, and this is 5.2.2.4 and 5.2.2.5, and says separately applied. So again, come back to these PQR. It says GT8W 3.5 millimeter and SM8W 5.2 millimeter. Then GT8W 3.5 millimeter, SM8W 5.2 millimeter. Then each thickness qualification for each process should be applied separately. For GTM8W 3.5 millimeter, which is belonging to here, and maximum thickness qualification for the base metal is 2 to 2T, and thickness, weld metal thickness is 2 lowercase t, and SM8W 5.2 millimeter is also belonging to this line number 2. Same thing applies. But if this SM8W thickness of the weld metal thickness for the SM8W is 15 millimeter, then not this line number 2, but this line number 3 is applied for SM8W only, separately. This is 5.2.2.4 and 5.2.2.5. Again, and I explained how to read table 7. So I'm gonna stop here today, and next time I'm gonna explain this note in 5.2.3. Thank you for listening to my lecture today. I'll see you next time.